It's got that general agreeability, the mild flavor, the clean finish. So it's like a breath of a soft sea breeze.
And I don't know if these types of meat are too spicy for Sichuan folks, but they are edging close to my threshold.
That's a clip from the previous video showing lunch earlier during the day. Those duck's feet did exceed my threshold for spiciness. I needed something sweet to extinguish the fire, so we will end up here at Daifuku Lounge, a remodeled old courtyard structure named after the nearby bridge Daifuku. The place sells foreign pastries with Chinese inspirations, like this persimmon cake that takes advantage of the seasonal autumn fruit scarcely grown outside China. If you've tried persimmon before, hit that like! Previously, we've encountered plenty of failed fusions, like this persimmon dessert elsewhere, but Daifuku Lounge doesn't fool around. We are particularly impressed by this persimmon Daifuku that mimics the frosted look and doughy feel of dried persimmon with ultra-realism. Even the persimmon ice cream inside realistically replicates the mildly cool mouthfeel of a dried persimmon taken right out of the freezer. FYI, dried persimmons won't freeze and harden into ice-cold pebbles due to thorough dehydration under the sun. There's basically no moisture inside to freeze. The little treat tastes terrific with the bittersweet and crisp longjing or dragonwell, Hangzhou's iconic green tea. The afternoon slipped away just like that, and it's time to figure out what's for supper.
But since we are spending the next 6 days in Hainan, and since Hainan cuisine is closely related to Sichuan cuisine, especially the spicy aspect, we've decided that instead of spicing things up, we're gonna unspice things down tonight. Something less spicy, something subtle. Sushi is subtle, relatively speaking.
From Daifuku to Yuting we go, or maybe it's Yudi, I'm not sure because the second character is polyphonic. It's hard to determine which pronunciation to use here since the character is basically obsolete in Chinese, though it continues to be used as kanji in Japanese. I think the restaurant would be Sakanamachi in Nihongo, roughly meaning fish town. Sounds like the right place for sushi, and we're suckers for sushi. So it's time to go to town on sushi at Fish Town.
Zhendiao Madai, the Red Sea green. This is subtle. Very subtle. Being a typical white fish, it's got that general agreeability, the mild flavor, the clean finish. So it's like a breath of a soft sea breeze.
The other sashimi plated together with the madai is the fattiest part of the belly, or otoro, of the bluefin tuna. In the winter months when tunas are at their fattest, I sometimes prefer otoro sushi over sashimi. I want that slight acidity of the rice to balance out the fat. But it wasn't winter when I shot the video, it was autumn, so the fattiness was half a step down into a more tolerable range of remarkable richness. I was talking about subtle at the beginning of the video, this ain't that subtle.
Otoro makes you want to say omega-3 because it's also fatty.
Another sashimi we'd order later is akagai, arc shell. You can see the flesh flinching and twitching. I think I was replying to a message or something, so I missed the chef slamming the clam on the counter to stimulate the muscle into tightening up, but my teeth could sense the intensity of that slam from the tenseness and bounciness of the clam. The same level of attention to detail is also exhibited in the crafting of each piece of sushi. For instance, fringes of the wagyu are trimmed for the perfectly shaped piece of neat nata, and the chef asks, "How do you like your steak done?" Yeah, I know sticklers for tradition are screaming heresy, so let's look at an example of old tradition, Edo Maya tradition, specifically the choice in vinegar for the rice. Whereas the wagyu and this mantis shrimp sushi feature sushimeshi seasoned with white vinegar, others like this Toyama Prefecture white shrimp sushi make use of red vinegar in the rice, which is often associated with Edo Maya style sushi.
Buri, maybe not the best season for it, but can resist.
The yellowtail has long been one of my favorites, and here it is also mounted on a hill of brown-colored rice, as is this hotate scallop sushi being pressed. The rice's brownish hue comes from Akazu, red vinegar. While Japanese white vinegar is made from fermenting sake, red vinegar utilizes another main ingredient. When leaves from sake production are stored and aged, they take on a darker color, and vinegar made from such sake leaves would naturally take on a darker color too. The result is Akazu, literally red vinegar, also known as kasuzu, literally leaves vinegar. Just as sashimi has its origin in ancient Chinese cuisine, perhaps so too the Japanese leaves vinegar. whereas kasuzu was invented around 2 centuries ago by Matazaemon Nakano, founder of food company Miskan, a similar rice wine lees vinegar zaopocu already existed in Hainan Province supposedly some 5 centuries ago. Today, zaopocu is often seen in a local hot pot variety. Since loanwords from Chinese account for a considerable fraction of Japanese vocabulary, the two terms also share one same character, the kasu in Japanese and po in Chinese. I didn't dig into the meaning of the Japanese kanji, but for the Chinese term zaopocu, the first two characters form the word zaopo, which not only indicates wine lees in this context, but also denotes something useless in other situations. Rather than discarding useless wine lees, wise ancient folks turned trash into treasure, whether the Chinese with zaopocu or Japanese with kasuzu. I'll be talking about lots of ancient stuff soon because the next morning we will fly to the historical city of Hanzhong in Shanxi Province.
The Jiangnan area has long been regarded by the Chinese as a paradise on earth because of reasons like cultural sophistication and natural resource abundance. Two of its iconic cities are Suzhou and Hangzhou, hence the saying, 上有天堂,下有苏杭. Paradise up there, Suzhou and Hangzhou down here. Meanwhile, northwestern China, comprised of places like Xinjiang and Qinghai, is more characterized by its ruggedness and sort of like the Wild West in some ways. And in this rugged Wild West is Hanzhong of Shanxi Province. It is nicknamed 西北小江南, the mini Jiangnan of the Northwest. And that is our next destination. So goodbye from this Jiangnan. See you folks in that Jiangnan.
再见。